Worked double shifts for weeks to afford my wife's birthday gift. Her brother opened it and said, "This cheap thing? You should be ashamed." She threw it in the trash in front of me and said, "Don't embarrass me again." That night, I took the trash out, and left something else in its place that made them. My name is Mike, and I'm 42 years old. I've been fixing heating and cooling systems in Springfield, Missouri for over 20 years. It's honest work, crawling through attics, getting my hands dirty, making sure families stay comfortable. The pay's decent, and I know what I'm doing. My wife Sarah and I had been married for 7 years. In the beginning, things were good. She worked part-time at the local library, loved simple pleasures, scented candles, weekend drives through the Ozarks, finding treasures at garage sales. We didn't have much, but we had enough. Then her older brother Kevin came back to town. He'd been flipping houses in Nashville, always bragging about his big deals. When his latest project fell through, he moved back home and started showing up at our house constantly. Kevin had this way of making everything about money, expensive cologne, flashy clothes, and an attitude that made my skin crawl. Sarah started changing around him. Her voice got higher, her laugh louder. She began saying things like, "Most people our age already have their dream home, and we should want more than this." Kevin never respected me, always asking with that smirk, "Still doing that HVAC stuff, huh?" Her birthday was coming up, and I wanted to do something special. I'd seen her admiring a rose gold watch at JCPenney, not super fancy, but it was $270, more than we usually spent. I picked up every extra shift I could find, worked nights and weekends, even turned down my brother's fishing trip to Lake of the Ozarks just to earn that money. I had it engraved. Time changes everything. Love, M. The night of her birthday, I came home at exactly 6:15 like I promised. Kevin was already there with his girlfriend Jessica, music playing, drinks flowing. Sarah barely looked at me. "You're late," she said, though I wasn't. I pulled out the gift, wrapped in blue paper. Before Sarah could even open it, Kevin grabbed it from her hands. "Let's see what the AC guy brought us," he laughed, tearing into the wrapping. He opened the box, saw the watch, and his face twisted into a cruel grin. "This cheap thing? You should be ashamed, bro." He tossed the box onto the coffee table like it was garbage. Sarah walked over, picked up the box, looked at it for maybe 3 seconds, then walked straight to the kitchen and dropped the entire thing. Watch, box, everything, into the trash can. She looked me dead in the eye and said, "Don't embarrass me again." I stood there feeling like I'd been punched in the chest. Nobody defended me. They just turned the music up and kept drinking. That night, I couldn't sleep. At 2 a.m., I got up and pulled the watch from the garbage. It was still ticking, still working. I stared at that engraving for a long time, and then I had an idea that would change everything.
I grabbed my work toolbox and pulled out the tiny inspection camera I use for tight ductwork. It's a small USB device that records in HD and triggers on motion. I placed one behind the fake plant in the living room, another above the kitchen cabinets, and a third in the hallway. All connected to an app on my phone. I didn't trust them anymore. Something in my gut told me I wasn't just being paranoid. For weeks, I acted normal. I said nothing, just watched the videos every night after Sarah went to bed. At first, it was small stuff. Kevin letting himself in when I was at work, sitting on our couch for hours. Sometimes Sarah was there too, and they'd whisper and drink wine together. She started dressing differently around him, wearing tighter clothes. I tried not to assume the worst, but then the hallway camera caught something that made my blood run cold. Kevin came out of our bedroom alone, shirt half tucked, hair messy. That's when I started backing up everything to multiple flash drives. One night, I watched Kevin try to access my laptop. He guessed my password 5 times while Sarah stood right next to him, watching and smiling. That's when I knew this wasn't just about sex. They were planning something bigger, something involving my money. I ordered a phone cloning device online. While Sarah slept, I cloned her phone to mine. What I found in her text messages made me sick to my stomach. "Sarah, I'm tired of being married to a broke man with dirty fingernails. Kevin, we're almost there. Be patient. Let him hang himself. Sarah, let's do it after my birthday. He's probably planning another sad card and some gas station flowers." They thought they were playing me. They had no idea I was recording their every move. I didn't say a word. Instead, I started quietly moving my things out of the house. Tools, documents, clothes, even my grandfather's old hunting rifle. I opened a new bank account and transferred money in small amounts. I closed our joint credit card. Then I called my cousin Brad, who's a deputy sheriff up in Branson. I showed him everything. The videos, the texts, the recordings. He nodded slowly and said, "We can build a case." Then he helped me find a lawyer. I filed for divorce, but I didn't serve Sarah yet. I had something else planned first. I waited until Sarah's next birthday. I handed her the exact same gift box from the year before. She rolled her eyes. "Another watch?" She opened it and saw the same watch she'd thrown in the trash. She looked up at me, annoyed. "You brought this back from the garbage?" I smiled. "Something like that." That's when the front door opened. Brad walked in with two uniformed officers behind him. "Sarah Lynn Mitchell," Brad said, stepping into the room with his badge out. "You're being served." Sarah stood up fast. "What the hell is this?" "You're being investigated for fraud, attempted identity theft, and conspiracy," he said. "You have the right to remain silent." Sarah looked at me like I was the one who betrayed her. "You're doing this to me, Mike?" I didn't answer. Kevin had just walked in through the back door with a bag of Taco Bell, grinning like an idiot. He stopped cold when he saw the uniforms. "Kevin Stephen Mitchell," Brad said, turning to him with a second envelope. "You're being served too." Kevin tried to laugh it off. "Are you serious right now? This guy's setting us up." But Brad just kept reading the charges. Fraud, conspiracy, tampering with electronic devices. Sarah lost it. "Mike, you can't do this. We're married. You can't just ambush me in my own house." I still hadn't said a word because I wanted them to feel the weight of everything they tried to do behind my back. Kevin threw his food on the floor and stepped toward me. "You think you're smart? You think you can ruin me with a couple of videos?" Brad stepped between us. "Don't move again." That's when Brad handed them the printouts, text messages, screenshots, password attempts, timestamps. Every text, every recording, every time they tried to access my laptop. All logged, all backed up. Kevin tried to grab the papers and crumple them. Sarah sat down hard on the couch, shaking her head. "I didn't mean to go that far," she said quietly. "I just wanted better. You don't understand what it's like living with someone who's always tired, always covered in dust." I finally spoke. "I was tired because I was working double shifts for you. For this." I pointed at the watch still in her lap. "You spit on that like it meant nothing." But I wasn't done yet. "Brad," I said, "show them the video from July 14th. Brad pulled out his phone and showed them the footage. There was Sarah on our couch, half-dressed, wrapped in a blanket. Kevin came out of the hallway, also barely dressed, sat beside her, and kissed her shoulder. She laughed. Kevin's face went red. "You filmed this without consent. That's illegal." Brad raised an eyebrow. "Not in your own home, Kevin. Mike lives here, and these were installed in shared rooms. Motion triggered. Completely legal." Kevin exploded. "This is insane. You're destroying your whole life over this." "No," I said. "You two already destroyed it. I'm just finally cleaning up the mess." That's when Sarah snapped. "I was miserable. You never took me anywhere. You wore the same work boots to every dinner." I felt stuck. Kevin understood me. Kevin looked surprised. She said that part out loud, loud enough for everyone to hear. "I gave you everything I had," I said. "And you both laughed at me for it." They cuffed Kevin first. He didn't resist, but he spit on the floor near my feet. "You'll regret this, air conditioning boy." Sarah wasn't cuffed yet. She was crying now, not loud, just that pitiful, shaking kind of cry when someone realizes they've burned the wrong bridge. "I didn't want it to go like this," she whispered. "We were just going to take some money and leave. Not all of it, just enough to start over." "You almost got there," I said. "But I was watching the whole time." They walked Kevin out first, then Brad stood next to Sarah. She didn't fight, just stared at the floor and didn't say another word as they led her out. The door closed, and for the first time in over a year, the house was quiet. But it wasn't over. 2 days later, Brad called me. "Mike, you might want to come down here. We found something else." I drove to the station, and Brad met me in the hallway with a thick file. His face was grim. "I know you thought this was just about your marriage," he said, handing me the folder. "But we found something much bigger." I opened it. Bank accounts, 3 of them. Not in Sarah's name, not in Kevin's name, not even in Springfield. Fake IDs, opened under fake names, same handwriting on all the forms, same P.O. box in a nearby town. "We think they were planning to drain your savings and disappear," Brad said. "They'd been working on this for over a year, Mike." My knees went weak. They hadn't just been cheating. They were building a complete escape plan using my identity, my work, my money. "There's more," Brad continued. "We think Kevin's done this before." The next morning, I was drinking coffee when my phone rang. Unknown number. "Mike Mitchell?" The voice was professional but serious. "Yeah, who's this?" "My name is Detective James Rodriguez. I'm with the Missouri State Financial Crimes Unit. I'm calling about a flag withdrawal request made using your social security number." My stomach dropped. Someone had tried to transfer a retirement account I didn't even know existed into an offshore wire. The paperwork was flagged because of a signature mismatch. Someone created this account using an old job you had back in 2008, Rodriguez explained. They'd been growing it slowly, not for you, for them. They were using you like a ghost identity. That P.O. box Brad found was linked to everything. Sarah and Kevin hadn't just been stealing from me, they were creating a whole second version of my life on paper and planning to steal that too. I remembered a dinner from 2 years ago. Kevin had come over drunk and kept joking about how, Mike's such a simple guy, you could put a leash on him and he'd walk in circles. They'd laughed. I'd laughed too, thinking it was just a joke. But then Sarah had asked a weird question that night. If someone stole your identity, how long would it take you to notice? I thought she was just making conversation. Now I realized it was part of their blueprint. I called Brad immediately. We need to pull in financial forensics, he said. Mike, this is bigger than we thought. They've got more schemes running than just what they did to you. The next few weeks were hell. I spent hours with lawyers, had to freeze my credit, lock down my accounts, prove I didn't open half the things in my name. But while I was dealing with all that, Sarah and Kevin got released on bail. That's when the phone calls started. Blocked numbers, random voicemails. Sarah crying into the phone, Mike, please. I didn't know Kevin was doing all of that. He pressured me. I didn't mean to hurt you. And Kevin had the nerve to send me a handwritten letter. You think you've won? You haven't. I've been doing this longer than you've been fixing pipes, little man. You got one trick. I've got 100. Enjoy your empty house. I sent the letter straight to Brad. This counts as intimidation, he said. We'll use it in court. But then something unexpected happened. A woman named Lisa Patterson reached out to me on Facebook. I'd never heard of her, but her message stopped me cold. Hi Mike. I think we need to talk. I used to be with Kevin, and I think he did the same thing to me that he did to you. I met her at a diner outside of town. She brought a folder full of bank accounts, text messages, even fake business licenses. Kevin had set up a fake roofing business under her name, borrowed money against her credit, then disappeared when she tried to press charges. Nothing had stuck because she didn't have the recordings like I did. But with what I had, we now had a pattern. Lisa and I went straight to my lawyer, who started putting together something big, a RICO case. Racketeering, multiple frauds across state lines, same methods, same perpetrator. Brad was stunned. If we can connect one more case, this won't just be personal, Mike. This becomes federal. I started tracking down Kevin's other ex-girlfriends. Most blocked me, but one replied. I've been waiting for someone else to come forward, she said. I just didn't want to be the first. Her name was Amanda, and her story was almost identical, except Kevin had used her name to rent 2 condos in Kansas City, flipped one for cash, and left her holding the bag on the other. She never fully recovered financially. Now we had 3 victims, all with paper trails. The revenge wasn't just personal anymore, it was about making sure Kevin never did this to anyone else again. My lawyer submitted everything to the state prosecutor's office. 3 victims, 3 trails of fraud, same perpetrator, same methods. Brad called me a week later. They're opening a formal investigation into Kevin as a serial financial predator. It's going to the state attorney general's office, and Mike, if they push this forward with federal backing, he's looking at 20 years minimum. I sat in my truck after that call, staring at the steering wheel. For the first time since this started, I felt something I hadn't felt in a long time, control. But I wasn't done. I wanted Sarah to understand exactly what she'd thrown away. Not just the money or the house, but me. What I would have done for her, what I did do. So I sent her one last thing before the trial began. A box. Inside was the same rose gold watch, still ticking, still engraved. Beneath it, I put a photo of the 3 of us at a restaurant years ago. Me, Sarah, and Kevin. Back when I still thought I had a family. On the back of that photo, I wrote, "You had time. You wasted it." She didn't respond, but she didn't need to. The trial was everything I'd hoped for. Our statements were read into evidence, video clips were played, bank records displayed. It turned out Sarah had forged my signature on multiple documents, small things at first, just enough to help Kevin but not enough to get caught right away. But with the identity theft, the account creation, and the attempt to drain my 401k all stacked up, Kevin was hit with 11 charges. 3 felonies, 2 counts of federal wire fraud, and because there was proof he'd used multiple identities to open out-of-state financial accounts, the FBI got involved. He was sentenced to 27 years, no parole for at least 20. When the judge read the sentence, Kevin started yelling, "You don't know who I am. I made real money. They're all lying. This is rigged." The bailiffs dragged him out. Sarah got 5 years probation, 2 years house arrest, and a felony record for financial fraud. No passport, no credit, no job prospects. She got the lighter sentence because she turned on Kevin in the end, gave the feds information about another fraud scheme he was running with 2 guys from Arkansas. But it didn't save her dignity. Her name was ruined. She lost every job she applied for. Last I heard, she was living with her mother in a trailer outside of town. She tried contacting me one more time, sent a letter saying she was lost and missed the life we used to have. She asked if I'd ever consider forgiving her. I didn't reply. Meanwhile, I rebuilt my life slowly. I took a couple months off work, got a small place out in the country. Quiet, peaceful. I even started dating again. Nothing serious yet, just coffee and conversation. But it felt good to be seen again. The real closure came months after the trial. Amanda called and said she'd found another bank account Kevin had set up using a shell company in her name. It had $18,000 in it. I don't want his dirty money, she said. But maybe we can split it between the three of us, the ones he used. We met with a lawyer, filed a joint civil suit, and claimed the funds as compensation. We won. I used my share to buy a used Ford F-150. Nothing fancy, but it was mine, paid in full. I still wear the same boots Kevin made fun of. I still fix heating systems in crawl spaces and wipe my face with a greasy rag. But I walk lighter now because I know who I am. And more importantly, they do too. They thought I was the quiet one, the doormat, the fool in work boots. Turns out I was the one holding all the receipts. And when the time came, I didn't scream, I didn't fight. I just let the truth do its job. And I buried them both.